Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Glad to have you with us on this Thursday, or as Brittany likes to call it, we'll let her explain in a moment. But we've got a great show lined up for you for the next half hour, some special guests, and it's Thursday, Virtual Family Fun Day. More on that in just a moment. Brittany Pacheco joining us. And Brittany, thanks for filling in for me yesterday, and thanks for telling everybody I was placed in detention.
I got to keep it real, Todd. Don't be ashamed. It's okay. Some of us get in the doghouse sometimes. No, I did say that you were not in detention, in fairness.
I was meeting with the new mayor of Stafford yesterday with some of our communications staff and also Dr. Madeline Barillo-Hopkins, the president of HCC Southwest, and talking about our partnerships with Stafford. And the new mayor will get him on probably on Up to the Minute in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him as well.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, that's some big shoes to fill with Mayor Scarcella, having been in that position for many, many years. So
more than 50 years. Hard to believe when he.
So looking forward to meeting the new mayor in the future. But welcome everyone to day 4 of the hostage situation. That's what Todd was referring to. So before we get into today's show, I do want to remind everyone to please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And to our audience, we need your help spreading the word about Up to the Minute and just HCC in general. You can do so by sharing this podcast. That way it pops up on your personal news feed so we can share this information to others, but also grow our audience. So I'm excited for today's show. So Todd, let's get into it.
All right, Brittany, stick around. We'll check in with you in just a little while. We've got 2 guests today. As we mentioned, it's Thursday, Virtual Family Fun Day, and we've got a special guest joining us from the University of Houston, Dr. Robert Shimko. He's the executive director of the Houston Shakespeare Festival, also the UH director for the School of Theater and Dance, and he's one of our guests this morning. Good morning to you, Dr. Shimko. How are you? All right.
Great.
Good to see you. Always good to see a fellow Coug out there. We are going to check in with you in just a few moments. Grab a cup of coffee. We'll be back with you in about 10 minutes or so. So stick around. We're looking forward to hearing about that. But first, you may have been able to catch our recent Fashion Fusion event. If you didn't, well, it's still online. We've got Suzette Brimmer. She's the Dean of Consumer Arts and Sciences Center of Excellence, joining us on the show. Welcome back to the show, Suzette.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
You guys put on a fantastic event this year. And folks may not know about our partnership we have with the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. And they have been really instrumental with Fashion Fusion over the years. Maybe you can give us a little bit of history with them and Fashion Fusion.
Sure. This show was our 6th show. Antiquities to Modern Works. And it all started with a phone call from Carolyn Gazer and Linda Kirkendall, and they were interested in figuring out a new and creative way to engage a different audience. So that's really how it started. That's a part of the mission of the museum. And so Carolyn thought of having a fashion show. So that's what we end up doing, and it has just grown and surpassed all that we hoped that it could have been.
And usually, I know in the past, HCCTV has always helped you guys out, and we've been able to live stream in the past, but this event completely virtual. And
yes.
It was a learning process for us, and I'm sure it was for you as well. But overall, it looked incredible.
Well, thank you. It really wasn't. And when I think about that, we were all in different places doing this, the actual show, and Andrea and I parts were live. That was a bit scary, but it all worked. So we were very, very, very excited about it.
If you haven't seen Fashion Fusion, we'll place a link in our social media of the post for the show after the show is over. Okay, so one thing that's unique about Fashion Fusion is with your partnership with the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, the students work on either a current exhibit. This year was a little different because the students were working on, I guess, the permanent exhibits as well.
Yes.
And had different categories to inspire their fashions.
That's correct.
Maybe you could tell us about the 4 categories and how that worked.
Sure. The categories were antiquities, the Renaissance, modernism, and Baroque. Those were the 4 different categories. And these are permanent exhibitions at the museum.
And tell us about the judges, because you had some great judges this year, and maybe you could mention a few of those. And also, let's talk about who won the categories.
Okay, well, for antiquities, Rachel Martinez was our first place winner. Renaissance was Joy Akinyemi. Sue Terrell for modernism. Baroque, Maria Hammond. And our audience choice was Joy Akinyemi.
And how did you do the audience choice? Usually I know in person you do those where people can actually vote in person. This year was a little different because you were doing it virtually.
Yes, and there was a link and a QR code that people can just, put their phone on the cord and be linked up to the polling site rather. And what was really neat about this year, we were able to have actual photographs of the garment, so it made it a lot easier for the audience to vote.
You know, a lot of people may not realize, but you guys have had a number of your students go on and do some really incredible stuff and move on to television shows. One of them you've got in New York, and he's a designer out there, and he comes back to Houston to visit. But you also had some special judges on the show this year. Chloe Dow from Project Runway, based in Houston. She always seems to show HCC some love whenever. I know she's been on this show before.
Yes, she does. And Chloe was also a student of our fashion design program. So we're very, very excited about that. Joy Sewing with the Chronicle, lifestyle journalist for the Chronicle, was also a judge.
What do the students learn out of, not just what do they learn out of this, I imagine what they get out of this experience is something to put on their resume and body of work that they can show people. Nowadays, it's, when I was in the news industry, when you were trying to build your resume, you had a long tape, you had to edit, you had to add, but nowadays you can just put a few links of some of your work into an electronic email, and these students have an instant portfolio.
Yes, that is correct. And by this being virtual, it's going to be a lot easier for them to translate that into a virtual or online portfolio.
Now, in the past, I know the pieces have toured the city in many cases, have been placed in public locations. Will that happen this year with the pieces that were created?
Yes, there are. As a matter of fact, the sketches and the actual winners of the designs will be displayed in a Beck building for 6 weeks, starting June 26th.
And, another thing, too, which you guys have some incredible things going on at the Central College. Maybe you can just give us a few highlights, because I know you had a huge culinary building that opened. We haven't even had a chance because of COVID to have the actual ribbon cutting. But when people do get back on their campus, they're going to see an incredible facility for our culinary students. And you've got a lot of other things going on at Central College.
Yes, and just to elaborate a little bit more on the culinary building, Hugo Ortega, who's also alumni of HCC culinary program, his wife and daughter, as a surprise, made a huge donation to the culinary program, and now has the rights to and his signage up in a large foyer area. So we are very, very excited about that. And he has always been a friend to the college and to our students, coming back, talking about his career and serving as inspiration for our students.
When you've got people out there like Chloe Dow and Hugo Ortega, I mean, that really, having them come back and speak on behalf of the college, that's the best marketing we could have, really.
Yes, it definitely is. And they do things from their heart and their soul, and they really believe in the program and are really appreciative and know that how important an education and what it can do for your life. Because when Hugo started school at HCC, he did not speak English. Yeah.
And this was talking about way back in the early 90s when he was at HCC. But he certainly speaks fondly of, I've interviewed him several times, and he speaks fondly of us. One final thing, Fashion Fusion. I know this year just wrapped up, but are you guys already thinking of next year?
Of course. You know that's how it is, yes. Yes, and we're really looking forward to being on part of the new campus of the Museum of Fine Arts for our next Fashion Fusion.
Well, I know next year you're hoping to have people in person in the audience, but let's keep this live streaming thing going on. I mean,
absolutely,
in person and virtual to reach the biggest audience.
Yes, I agree.
Suzette Brimmer, the Dean of Consumer Arts and Sciences Center of Excellence. Thanks for being here on the show today.
Thank you, Todd. It's always great to be here.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
We are going to take you across town to another partner of HCC, the University of Houston, Dr. Robert Shimko, the Executive Director, the Houston Shakespeare Festival. He's also UH Director of School of Theater and Dance. He's our Thursday virtual family fun guest. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Hi, Todd. I'm great. Thanks for inviting me.
I was going through my notes this morning, looking over the history of this festival, and two names popped out because I remember them very well from going to U of H. Dr. Sidney Berger. A very legendary name. He wasn't there when I was there, but you always heard people talking about him. I think there was a movie back in the 60s, some horror movie that he was involved in as well, which is kind of legendary. But another person, it was incredible. If you haven't seen it, look it up online. But Cecil Pickett, I remember that name very well because I studied under him one summer, and he's another legend in U of H.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sydney and Cecil essentially are the driving forces behind the creation of the Shakespeare Festival. It was Sydney who, back in 1975, and I should note that we're heading towards the 50th birthday of the festival in 2024. They would direct one show each, and that has traditionally been the way the Shakespeare Festival works in the summer, is that we would do what we call contrasting Shakespeare productions. One, a tragedy or a history, something more serious and more heavyweight, kind of like big speeches and lots of swords, and then we'll do a Shakespeare comedy to balance it out.
And looking back over the years since you've been there, you've got to have some moments that stand out for you. What are a few of those?
Yeah, so I've been at UH for 15 years, and I've been the executive director of the Shakespeare Festival for the last 5. One thing it's not so much a moment that is unique to a particular season. It's a moment that happens every year. It is the first night of the festival. We're at Miller Outdoor Theater, so it's completely free. It always has been. If you've ever been to anything at Miller Outdoor Theater, there's a big seating area, but then there's a large lawn where people put out picnic blankets. And really, you just need to park and bring your picnic blanket. You don't need to do a lot of work in advance. We get a lot of families, so I'm glad to be part of Thursday Family Fun, because it is a totally free event. If you've got a big family, you can bring all of them, and it costs the same as if you just went yourself, because it costs nothing. And so the great moment for me is I will stand all the way at the back of the hill, and the sun will be going down, and I will look at sometimes 4,000 or 5,000 of my fellow Houstonians, all walks of life, there maybe to see their 100th Shakespeare performance, maybe their first Shakespeare performance. And I just kind of watch them get ready to watch the show. And then I run up and I do a live, sort of introduction. But before that starts, I like to just watch everybody assemble.
When I notice you guys are doing something a little different this year, you've got Shakespeare Night at the Movies. And I noticed Kenneth Branagh is in a few of those as well. I had a chance, it's weird because in my short time in news, I had a chance to interview him when he was promoting one of these movies. And what a lovely individual. And it really was an incredible interview and a wonderful individual during the interview. But maybe you can tell us about a few of the movies that he's going to be on there. Yeah.
Well, let me start by saying this is a one-off, right? We're doing a film festival this year. We'll be back fully live next year. The decisions about these things get made 6 or 9 months in advance. So think about where we were last, September, October, that's when we made the decision to have a film festival. So if anybody's wondering why, everything's kind of coming back live, why are we doing movies? Well, we decided a while ago. But I had just mentioned that we always start with two contrasting Shakespeares, a more serious and a comedy. And I'm a kid of the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, and I grew up as a drama club geek, and we were just so interested in the Branagh Shakespeares, as we always, we just call them the Branagh Shakespeares. And I think it's for my sort of Gen X generation, it's how a lot of us got bitten by the Shakespeare bug. And so we're doing Henry V, which is Branagh's first Shakespeare film. And I was talking in the office yesterday, at the theater office at UH, about how, it's just a filmed version of a medium famous Shakespeare play, but it was a huge hit. And it was, I remember it was 1989, so I would still be in middle school at that point, but I remember being aware of it, that, you've got to go see Henry V. It's so great. Yeah. And so that was sort of an easy first choice, right? Because the screen at Miller, one of the fun things about putting on plays at Miller Outdoor Theater is it's like doing theater on a football field. It's huge. Right. And so showing movies out there also makes a lot of sense. So we wanted to have something that was our cornerstone film, and it's the first night. This is August 3rd through 7th. So the first night is Henry V, and that's our kickoff show. And it's going to look fantastic on the big screen, outdoors. You'll hear the crickets chirping in the background. And usually in theater, that's you'd say crickets chirping, that's a terrible thing. But it's like, it reminds you you're in nature. And sometimes if it's a little quiet out there, you can hear the elephants from the zoo. And so that we're pairing with Much Ado About Nothing, which is the one with Emma Thompson and Denzel Washington and Michael Keaton, all being charming and hilarious and wonderful. And so that was our sort of core. And then we said, well, what can we surround them with so it's got some variety? So we're doing a Japanese version of Macbeth by Akira Kurosawa called Throne of Blood, which honestly is I think my favorite of the five, and one that I've only ever seen on my TV at home. I've never seen it on a big screen.
And that's kind of unique because you don't see that often.
Yeah. We're doing a classic by Max Reinhardt from the 1930s, Midsummer Night's Dream, with James Cagney, Mickey Rooney, Olivia de Havilland. And so that's our sort of like classic Hollywood take on Shakespeare. And then the last one is the one that I remember most vividly from back in the day. It's the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, or Romeo plus Juliet, as it's written on the poster, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Yeah, that one was a little bit out of my taste. I think I liked, the best thing I liked about that movie was the soundtrack. The
soundtrack was huge, right? It's from 1995, 95, 96, something like that. And oh my God, I remember seeing that the CD on all my friends' CD racks, back in the second half of the 90s.
I want to jump in here real quick. Romeo plus Juliet is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's one of Leo's best performances, but I have a very, very, very special place in my heart for Midsummer Night's Dream because yours truly in 5th grade was Helena. Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you should get out to the festival and get to see some of these films.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of my favorite lines from that play is, although she be but little, she is fierce. And that's something I live by every day because, yes, I am very tiny, but I'm also very fierce.
Brittany's tagline. There you go.
That was the first play I was ever in, too, in 9th grade, for what it was worth.
Yay!
Yeah, I was Bottom, the guy that gets the donkey.
Yes! Nick Bottom was just a great character in general. And like I said, we were in 5th grade. It was the first time 5th graders ever did a Shakespearean play. So Midsummer Night's Dream is near and dear to my heart.
So, Rob, let me ask you this. If you want to attend these events, the films, do you need tickets if you want to sit under the covered area? How does that work?
Yeah, you can go to, honestly, if you just Google Houston Shakespeare Festival, that'll take, the first thing that comes up will be we are a University of Houston theater company. It's our professional summer company. So you'll end up seeing that it's the UH, website that it's going to take you to. And you can get tickets in advance. But if you want anything other than that sort of close up covered seating, you don't need them. You can simply show up.
Just bring your blanket, your refreshments, maybe some cheese and fruit, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And honestly, people will bring sandwiches. People will bring all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you can bring a full picnic if you want. Now, that means you want to eat a full picnic at 8:30 at night, because keep in mind, they start at 8:30 because they are movies, and it is outside. Right. Yeah. So we've got to wait till the sun kind of goes beneath the hill. So this is an evening thing. And I want to say one thing to the family audience who's like, well, I have a 10 and a 12-year-old and we'd love to go see this, but 8:30, we want to leave at 9:30. Nobody's going to tell you can't. It's not, you're going to a park. Yeah, you're going to a park. You're allowed to leave if the kids are crying.
Yeah, if you haven't seen a movie at Miller Outdoor Theater, it's an experience. It's worth going. I think years ago I saw Wizard of Oz there. It was a wonderful experience. So make sure you get out there to do that. Okay, and you have a Bard Talk real quickly that happens before all these films.
Yeah. So my background is I'm a theater historian. My PhD is in theater history, and so in a normal year, like some pre-COVID year, when we were doing plays, or next year when we're doing plays again, I will come out and there's a big kind of grove of trees and picnic tables and everything. And I just do a 25-minute talk about the play. If you're interested in theater history, if you're interested in Shakespeare, if you're interested in just the background of what you're about to watch, they've become really popular. I like doing them. And so it's sort of like things to look for. Here's some things you might not have known about this play. And so I'll be doing them for all 5 movies. So every night, if you get there a little early, if you get there closer to 7:30, you can come to it'll be really obvious because it'll be the loud man in the UH baseball cap. And you'll find me. And just you can eat your snack early and have your glass of wine maybe if you want. They don't prohibit that. And I'll just tell you, here's some really cool things about Henry V, or about Throne of Blood, or about Much Ado About Nothing. And lasts about 25 minutes, and usually people feel like, okay, now I know what I'm about to watch. It's good.
So get there early, see the talk, and check out the movie. If you are interested in this year's Shakespeare Film Festival, we'll have a link in the social media post for the show. Dr. Robert Shimko, thanks for being here, and go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Brittany. It's been great talking to you.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing you again sometime. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Brittany Pacheco with our HCC news and announcements. Who knew that Brittany was in a Shakespeare play? Would that be anything any of you remembered or thought of? I know I didn't have it on my list of things I knew about Brittany, but you learn something new every day.
Yeah, I wasn't a theater, geek, as they like to call it. I don't think they're geeks at all. My thing was choir, but yes, during elementary school, we did participate in many school plays. I was, I think, one of the Lullaby League in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, there you go. The Lullaby League. That makes sense. Okay.
Oh, man. Yeah. And I was a lamb in Charlotte's Web. But my big break was 5th grade for Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was in Camelot once.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. I am so jealous that you actually got to interview Kenneth Branagh. I mean, that man is just mind-blowing. Like he's so talented, and I would love to chat with him.
Nice as you could imagine. The nicest people I've ever met. But anyway, we've got a few HCC news and announcements we want to go over with you. Engineering Pathways, that is happening next week, Brittany.
Yes, so join HCC for a fun, interactive info session about HCC's engineering academies, which are a great way to become an engineer for half the cost. I mean, hello. So that's happening June 9th. That's next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to put a link to register in this post after the show.
Oh, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. It's Kenneth Branagh. I'll take that later.
Oh,
Okay. Path to Profession, like the traditional work study program. This provides students with job opportunities in their field by securing positions with HCC's business partners. They allow them to earn money and gain some real world experience. The link, well, it's a very long link. We'll place it in the social media post for your show, with the show. But this is a great way to get out there in the job market. If you're in the job market, get out there and start working and earn your degree and a little bit of money. All right. Very important thing we have going on, Brittany. It continues. Free groceries with a partnership with Houston Food Bank.
That's right. So registration for Houston's Food Bank's Community Health Market Trailers is going on, and they will be at multiple HCC campuses. All HCC community members can sign up to receive free groceries. Just pick the campus, date, and time, and how you would like to pick up the food. So contact hcc.cares@hccs.edu. That email we will post in the information section here after the show.
Okay, move ahead with adult ed. What's that all about? Well, if COVID's left you without a job or you're struggling to find work because you lack the right training, HCC's adult education program can help you get the skills you need. For more information, we'll have a link in our social media post, and you can hashtag it, Move Ahead with Adult Ed. Students, we have laptops and hotspots available for you to work with to get your studies done.
That's right. So thanks to our HCC Public Service librarians and the Rotaract Club, HCC students may qualify to check out laptops and hotspots for an unlimited amount of time. Now, there's 2 links in order to get your laptop and hotspots. We'll have those linked in our post after the show for more information should you want to take advantage of this opportunity. Oh, and we have a special guest joining us.
Mila the poodle is making a rare appearance on the show.
I love her top knot.
Yeah, she's a cute little pup. Anyway, she'll hang out with me for the rest of the show. Summer classes to begin. So if you're looking to register for the summer, you still have time to do so, and for the fall as well. Keep in mind, we're returning back to campuses. Our campuses are open, by the way. You can and take classes on the campus. So if you're wanting to do that, Brittany, we've got a few ways that they can learn. Let's say they would rather take online courses. That's available for them as well.
That's right. So we still will offer our online anytime, which are traditional online classes without scheduled lectures. Online on a schedule is exactly as it sounds. You have everything online, but you do participate in virtual lectures at the scheduled time and date that you enrolled for. Hybrid lab and hybrid courses are new and kind of reworked. They meet safely face-to-face on campus as well as virtual. And last but not least, our in-person classes are our safe face-to-face courses with traditional meeting patterns. Now with the in-person classes, if you already haven't heard this enough, those are going to be offered in small sections. So it is crucial to enroll early. So those classes begin this summer, excuse me, for registration to all HCC programs and to register for our fall semester, go to hccs.edu/now.
That's right. Okay. So next week, Brittany, we've got a big promotion we've got going on with ABC 13. Have you heard about that?
You know, just a little bit. I might have worked on the graphics for it.
Yeah. So you'll see us in ABC 13 social media. We're promoting our registration for summer and, of course, the fall. And we've got a webcast we'll be doing live on their website next Thursday at noon. We'll have more information on that all throughout next week. So look for us in social media, both on our social media and ABC 13, our partners as well. Okay, tomorrow on the show, we'll be visited by Jo Ellen Price. You know Jo Ellen, she's the head of HCC's Financial Aid Office, and we'll be talking about what you need to know to get the finances to attend school, whether you're looking for a loan, scholarships. Jo Ellen can answer all those questions for you.
Yeah, that's right. And it's Friday, so I won't be here, but you all will have a special guest check in with you from the local film scene.
That's right. Frank on Friday as well. Frank Cooper back in the house tomorrow. Oh, the other dog's getting away.
Oh, he's a fan.
He's a fan. He's a fan of Frank. Yeah, he's a fan of Frank Cooper's. Anyway, all right, folks. Brittany, we'll see you next week, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we'll see all of you tomorrow live, 10 a.m., right here for Up to the Minute.